Welcome to Spring LIB.
So here we see the levels of, or the amount that each country can produce of each item given one worker. So in order to find the first question, the answer to the first question, which is what is the absolute advantage, who has the absolute advantage in the production of rubber or radios, we would just have to see who can produce the most with each item, with respect to each item. So when we're looking at rubber, 10 is greater than 5, so Malaysia has the absolute advantage. And when we're looking at radios, Japan has the absolute advantage because 80 is greater than 40. So for part A, Japan has radios. Japan and radios. And the other one is Malaysia and rubber. In part B, we want to find the opportunity cost of producing 80 additional radios in Japan and in Malaysia. So if we want to produce 80 radios in Japan, we would have to give up 5 tons of rubber. And we know this because it's the given option, right? So in Japan, the opportunity cost is equal to, the opportunity cost in Japan is 5 tons. In Malaysia, the opportunity cost in Malaysia, it is simply equal to whatever this is times 2. So we'd have to give up 20 tons of rubber for 80 radios because 40 times 2 equals 80. So the answer to part B is the opportunity cost for Japan is, 5 tons. And the opportunity cost for Malaysia is 20 tons. And now we have to figure out who has the comparative advantage. Because the opportunity cost in Japan is less than the opportunity cost in Malaysia, Japan has the comparative advantage. Now in part C, we want to figure out what the opportunity cost of producing 10 additional tons of rubber in Japan and Malaysia are. So we would basically do the same thing. So the opportunity cost for Japan would be 5 times 2 to get 10 tons of rubber. And we see that you'd have to give up 160 pieces of rubber because 80 times 2 is equal to 160. And now the opportunity cost, this should be Malaysia. The opportunity cost in Malaysia is equal to 40 radios because that's just the given here. So opportunity cost in, this in black. Okay, opportunity cost in Japan is equal to 160 radios. The opportunity cost in Malaysia is equal to 40 radios. So who has the absolute advantage? Because 40 is less than 160, Malaysia has the absolute advantage when it comes to the production of rubber. So now we have to figure out, does each country have an absolute advantage in the same good that they have a comparative advantage in? So in part B, we figured out that Japan has an absolute or a comparative advantage in the production of radios, right? Yeah, so they have radios. And we found out in part A that they have the absolute advantage in the production of radios. So for part D, for Japan, it would be a yes. And for Malaysia, because they have an absolute advantage in rubbers and a comparative advantage when it comes to rubber, they would also have an absolute and comparative advantage in the same good. So now we have to figure out which good should Japan specialize in and which good Malaysia should specialize in. When we're figuring out which goods these countries should specialize in, we just have to figure out who can produce or who has the lowest opportunity cost, who has a comparative advantage in each situation. So for radios, we know that Japan has a comparative advantage, so they should produce radios. And for rubber, Malaysia has the comparative advantage, so they should produce rubber.